Hello, everybody. I'm here to talk about a 2022 horror film called M3GAN, spelled M, then it has the number 3, GAN, M3GAN. Okay. And this is a movie that's been around a few years. I finally got a chance to watch it. And the reason that I watched it was because I noticed in the theaters there's a sequel called M3GAN 2.0. It's out right now as I speak. And I'm thinking I might want to go to the show one day to see it. But how can I see it if I haven't seen the first one, right? Well, I had a friend who actually ran off a few DVD-Rs of some newer horror-related movies, and M3GAN from 2022 was one of them. So I said, well, since I got it home, let me finally get it off the shelf and put it in the player and see what I think of it. And then I'll decide if I want to see the new one or not, okay? So this film, M3GAN, is about a 9-year-old girl whose parents die in a car crash, and after which she starts to live with her Aunt Gemma. Gemma is played by Allison Williams, and I think Allison Williams does a really good job in this movie, by the way. I think she's very strong. And her Aunt Gemma is a roboticist who works at a high-tech toy company, all right? And that's the only thing that I have a hard time getting past. I mean, although she performs well in here, Allison Williams, I find it kind of a stretch of credibility that she could be developing all these high-tech inventions. But I don't know why. I don't know why. She just doesn't look the type or the age old enough. I don't know. But I went with it for the sake of the movie anyhow. Now, she's already developed a robot called Bruce, his motion capture robot, and he's kind of put on the sidelines for now. But her niece, who now living with her, becomes kind of bored and sad and depressed. The niece is named Katie, and Katie is played by Violet McGraw. Not a bad performance. She's 9 years old, I believe, in the movie as the movie plays out, and she is a little bit of a brat, a little bit of a nuisance and an annoying factor, but you have to understand she's kind of in a funk because she lost both her parents, so it's understandable in a way. But Gemma introduces her to the character of Bruce, the robot that she made so far, and she's kind of working on this child-sized humanoid robot doll called M3GAN. And she decides, I should say, Gemma decides to continue with this because her niece is kind of interested in the robotics and all that. So anyway, she goes ahead with it. And I got to say, I don't have the name of the actor who plays her boss, but the boss of Gemma is really a real grouch, and he's the kind of boss that you love to hate kind of thing, or at least I did in here. So that was a pretty decent character too. And, somebody that you could choose to dislike. It's always important in some of these movies, all right? Now, the doll M3GAN is powered by AI. And of course, this is another movie about how AI is taking over. And I say this all the time, don't trust it. AI sucks, even though it has its good points. You're going to see where we're going to be in the future. And there are a lot of movies like this coming out now. One of them was a recent movie called Companion. That's the same type of thing, having robot partners or robots that can start to think for themselves and destroy us and stuff like that. So you hear what I'm saying? It doesn't sound very original, does it? Remember Westworld? Lifelike robots that become vengeful and take over? Anyway, on and on we go. But anyhow, there's an emotional bond that comes into play here between Katie, the little girl, and also her new playmate, and they become friends more than just a girl playing with a doll or a toy. I mean, it becomes like a human, and I'm surprised nobody really could see the danger in that. It's incredible. But anyway, the thing that starts to happen is the doll M3GAN starts to really think for itself, and really becomes hell bent on defending its owner and playmate and friend, young Katie, at any cost. I mean, for example, M3GAN kills a dog that was bothering and injuring little Katie. And there's a boy at school who's bullying her that gets his as well. And I won't tell you everything that goes on here, but that's the gist of it. It's like after a while, poor old Aunt Gemma cannot control the doll either. Okay, it doesn't work even trying to shut her off. You know, and the stuff that's delivered here, I find pretty good stuff in the Killer Toys series of films that you have. We've seen it, like I said, so many times, whether it's a robot or a doll. I mean, there was the Talkie Tina episode of Twilight Zone with Telly Savalas and the doll. We've had the Child's Play with Chucky. We've had a lot of doll movies, killer robot creatures, and on and on and on. Nothing new here. Nothing new at all. Now, if you're a person who's younger and you haven't seen a lot of these movies, you're just starting out, maybe you're 13, 14 years old, you're getting into horror movies or something like that, this is brand new to you. I do think it was good. I do think it was good. It was solid. I found it took itself mostly seriously. Now, some people were calling this a comedy and saying it was at least a dark comedy or partly comedy. I didn't find it comical, and believe me, if anybody's going to say that a horror movie is ruined by too much comedy, it's going to be me. But I didn't see that with this one. I just thought that although it's very highly derivative of things you've seen 100 times before, it delivers the goods, and it's a solid horror movie. Now, I already talked about Katie, played by Violet McGraw, who's pretty good, and I talked about Gemma, played by Allison Williams, but I didn't talk about who plays M3GAN. Okay, first of all, the voice of M3GAN is played by Jenna Davis, and Amy McDonald plays M3GAN as, I don't know what, sometimes as a doll. I think she was used when M3GAN had to walk or do things that maybe made it look more realistic and not so CGI. But you're talking about AI, you're talking about CGI, you're talking about some human effort here together. I can't tell when it's a real person. I can't tell when it's animated. I can't tell when it's supposed to be CGI. Now, you may say that's a good thing. I don't mean that as a compliment. I just mean that it's all over the place. One minute it's walking like a real child. Next minute it's kind of running on all fours. That's a chilling sequence, I'll tell you, when you see M3GAN galloping along on all fours to chase somebody down. That's pretty creepy. Another time it looks like it's just a computer splotch, as usual, drawn. So I don't really know what to think here. But it was entertaining, so much so that 4 stars, I'd give it 3, a solid good rating. Now, does this make me want to see the sequel that's in the theaters now, M3GAN 2.0? Hell yeah, except that I did a little reading, and you try not to. Hearing that it's not so good, the sequel, and nowhere near as good as the original, but that's nothing new either, is it, when it comes to movies and sequels? However, it also says it changes genres. It's not the horror genre anymore. It's either action or some other kind of genre. I may see it for myself just to have an excuse to go to the movies again. So if I do, I'll definitely put a video up. But it was an entertaining, although been here, done that kind of movie.